Wi-Fi issues, let me know if they're bad. We'll stop this. I don't know what the hell's going on. Thank you, StreamYard. But we're going to get started here. Big day for me yesterday. I did a doubleheader. I went to the Yankees game, saw them absolutely destroy the Brewers to complete the sweep. And then I went to the Knicks game. So 2 wins for me yesterday. And those are the 2 teams that we're going to be discussing today, starting with the Knicks and then getting into the Yankees, the whole controversy with the bats and whatnot, and people complaining left and right. I don't see the big issue. I'm going to get into that. But we're going to start here with the Knicks because as of right now, this Knicks team is rolling. And I wouldn't necessarily say rolling because, of course, the Knicks have suffered a zillion injuries when it comes to their backcourt. The fact that they don't have Campaign, they don't have Deuce McBride, and now he should be coming back relatively soon, but they don't have Brunson as well, of course. So the Knicks are out of their top 3 point guards, their top 3 backcourt options. So now they're resorting to DeLon Wright, who is still playing more than Tyler Kolek. The whole argument behind playing Tyler Kolek more, his net rating is through the roof. You still don't see big minutes from Tyler Kolek. And that is another dilemma that we are going to discuss today. But I just wanted to give a quick shout out to OG Anunoby, who is playing. I know this is insane. I know that you might call me crazy for saying this. OG Anunoby is playing like a first-team All-NBA player. He is straight up. And if he does not win the Eastern Conference Player of the Week this week, it's an absolute travesty. It is a travesty. Over the last 6 games, 28.3 points per game, 2.3 steals per game, 56% from the field, 42% from 3. How much more could you ask for OG? Like, how much more could you possibly need from this guy? He is unbelievable, unstoppable. So listen, do I think that the Knicks, without Jalen Brunson, as of right now, are good enough to be solid in the playoffs? To even get past the first round? Of course not. Of course the Knicks need Jalen Brunson. And hopefully they will be getting him back. Hopefully he will have enough. And let me just check. I got to check the live video. I want to see how bad this is. Terrible. Terrible. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm going to switch to my hotspot. Give me a second. All right, we're back. What a joke. I pay a significant amount of money per month for StreamYard. Doesn't work. Terrific. Amazing. But we're back. Seven and 5 since Jalen Brunson's injury, which I think could be a lot better. Of course, they lost twice to the Clippers. They of course the 2 losses back to back to the Spurs and then the Hornets. Those were atrocious losses. But what we have seen since those losses is the Knicks coming together more as a team, even in the midst of suffering injury after injury after injury in the backcourt. Still playing this well with technically 2 G League point guards. I mean, according to Tom Thibodeau, Tyler Kolek is a G League point guard, considering how much he plays him, considering how little he trusts him, even with all the guys out. He's the 3rd string point guard, and he's not playing more than 20 minutes a game. He's technically the 4th string point guard. The 3 top point guards are out. He's barely playing. DeLon Wright, who's technically the 5th string point guard, is playing more than him. And DeLon Wright has been solid. Okay, let me give him that. Defensively, he's a better option at point guard than Tyler Kolek. I know people are going to scream at me, tell me, oh, but the defensive rating of Tyler Kolek is better than DeLon Wright. It's better than anyone on the court. Are you watching the same game as me? DeLon Wright's 6'5", all right? Tyler Kolek, much smaller. I'm not going to call him an inept defender. He's like a Jalen Brunson, good team defender, knows where to be on the court. But if you put him on an island, good luck stopping anyone in the NBA. That's just how it is. You want to call out defensive rating individually. I don't think that tells the whole story. I think net rating says more. The argument that you want to make, if you want to say that Tyler Kolek deserves more minutes, it's net rating. It's not defensive rating, it's the net rating. Because offensively, it's really good. Because the impact, the benefit that he has on the offense is completely different than what he'd have as an impact on the defensive side. So if you want to say Tyler Cole should be playing, bring up net rating. Don't tell me about defensive rating only, okay? Let me just say that. But, I mean, listen, OG Anunoby, again, as I just said, he better be the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. He is unstoppable. I was at the game last night, as I said. I did Yankees and Knicks later on in the day. Thank you to my uncle for hooking me up with the seats at last second. But I went and I watched OG continue to dominate. I think he's fully realized, and this is something that Josh Hart said after the game, but I think it's evident from watching each and every Knicks game since Brunson went out progressively. He has understood more and more that he is massive. He is a big dude. 6'8", 250 pounds. He is able to get even the biggest defenders in the NBA off their feet, out of the way, and he is able to finish in contact so well. I don't think the Knicks ever imagined this level of offensive output from OG Anunoby when they made the trade for him, trading away quickly, trading away Barrett on December 30th, 2023. I don't think they expected this. They expected the defensive prowess. They expected a top 3, top 5 wing defender in the NBA. Did they expect nearly 30 points a game? If they told you that, they'd be lying through their teeth, okay? Leon Rose is a smart dude. He did not expect this. No one expected this. You kind of saw it, in the early stages of his Knicks career with Julius Randle still on the court before his injury. Of course, OG and Julius both get hurt the same day last year. But before that, we saw OG Anunoby showing and flashing that offensive upside. Something that didn't necessarily return after he came back from the elbow injury and into the playoffs. But with the increased usage, it has returned. He's shooting the ball with so much more confidence. He came back from his injury a couple of weeks after the All-Star break, about a month ago, and he was flat-footed on his jumper. He was falling short on the majority of his jump shots, specifically from 3. His follow-through looked out of whack. That is completely changed. He is so confident. I'd argue that since Brunson went down with the injury, and more specifically in the last 10 games, OG's been the number one option. Not Cat, not Mikal. It's been Mikal at times. It's been OG. The fact that Knicks won that game last night, being down as many as 14, I believe, to the Trailblazers, and winning by 17, with Karl Anthony Towns scoring 10 points. He was an offensive non-factor. Non-factor. I believe he had 5 points in the first half. He was doing nothing. Couldn't get his shot up. OG took over. The reason why the Knicks got back in that game is OG decided to take over. And it wasn't just on the offensive end. We've come to expect time and time again the solid defense from OG Anunoby. But now that he's providing you all of this on offense, it's largely overlooked that his defense has been just as consistent, if not better. And speaking of travesties, if he doesn't win, Player of the Week this week, it would be an absolute travesty if he doesn't make one of the 2 all-defensive teams in the NBA. Absolute travesty. If you watch these games, if you observe objectively what OG Anunoby provides you on the defensive end, night in, night out, you will see. I could say it. He's a top 3 defensive player in the NBA. Top 3. Not just wing. Not just big guys. He is able to stop anyone. His versatility on the defensive end. He can match up a guy 6'4". He can match up a guy 6'11". I don't know many other players in the NBA that are able to do that, playing as many minutes as he does. Also with the defensive usage, or the offensive usage now, with Brunson out. And the fact that his defensive prowess hasn't waned whatsoever. So big shout out to OG Anunoby. It is again, it's so awesome to have a player who really embodies the mentality of New Yorkers. He really matches the vibe in the city. And it is so awesome to get a chance to watch this guy night in, night out. He is, I mean, listen, you could say what you want about Cat potentially not being the key to a championship with this squad. You know, there potentially being better options out there. Giannis Antetokounmpo being one of them. There isn't a better option in the NBA than OG Anunoby for what the Knicks are looking for defensively and on the offensive end. He fits into his role better than anyone else in the league. The specific role that he has on this team. I think it's fair to say that. 100%. So the Knicks, again, as I said, 7-5 since Brunson's injury. Brunson got hurt March 6th. He's been out for 25 days now. He has been officially cleared for basketball activities. I believe he only has 4 more games to play for him to be eligible to win. You know, he's going to be the clutch player of the year if he plays enough games. I think that's a lock. And if he doesn't win it, we should all protest the NBA offices. So he should be a lock to win that. 4 more games. The Knicks only have 8. So if the Knicks can get him back, get him. I mean, listen, they need to get him back before the playoffs. You need to get him playing well. I don't think you can go into a playoff series. It looks like they'll be playing the Bucks. I don't know. Again, 8 games left for the Knicks. More games potentially for other teams too. A lot can change. Could be the Pistons. That could be a more difficult matchup. Doesn't matter who they play. Jalen Brunson is going to need to be back up to game speed by the time the playoffs start. And he said, hopefully, best case scenario, he's able to get back, play a few games in the regular season, coast into the playoffs. That would be ideal, of course. Now let's move on. I know, talk Knicks for a little there. And more Knicks, as always, as the season progresses here and as they, get ready for the playoffs, which start in probably around 3 weeks. 3 weeks from now. Again, 8 games left for the Knicks, so more Knicks talk will be coming. Don't fret. But I wanted to touch on something that has kind of become and has kind of caught the eye of the baseball world, and that's the Yankees putting up 36 runs in 3 games against the Brewers. Absolutely destroying former Yankee Nestor Cortez in his start on Saturday. 3 home runs on 3 pitches. And not 3 Mickey Mouse home runs to right field, 3 bombs. They hit 9 home runs. Now, you got to give credit to the Yankees. You got to give credit where credit is due. This is not just a result from these torpedo bats. There's only 2 guys on the Yankees that I know of. There could be more. And drop a comment below if there's more. But I believe it's only Volpe and Jazz. And have both of them hit a lot better? Yes, they have. Has Jazz been arguably the second best hitter for the Yankees behind Judge this season? Again, small sample size, only 3 games. Jazz had a great stretch last year against the Phillies. There's no guarantee this is going to continue. But maybe the Yankees have cracked the code for guys whose sweet spot is closer to the handle of the bat. And that's all it is. And people out there, Dave Portnoy, Red Sox fans, arguing that it's legal, saying that Aaron Judge should be... you got to think that they're joking at this point. You got to think that they're just trying to rage bait here, because there's no way in their right mind that they could believe half of the stuff they say about the Yankees going out there and potentially cheating was something that has been deemed legal by the league offices. It's not illegal. If the bat is still the same weight, it is not illegal. The Yankees and one of their analytics guys last year, who has since left and gone to the Marlins, figured it out. This isn't something that the Yankees are just doing as well. This is something that they have experimented with in the past. Even Giancarlo Stanton was using one of those torpedo bats. Maybe the reason why both of his elbows are completely screwed up, but that's besides the point. The Yankees have been doing this now since last year. This isn't just a this year thing. Maybe the results are a little bit, of course, 15 home runs in 3 games. There are better results here in the early returns for the torpedo bats, but it's not just the guys who are using torpedo bats. It's Judge. It's Bellinger as well. It's Ben Rice. It's Austin Wells. These guys, and again, it's a small sample size. It's 3 games in. I've got people all around Twitter that I see saying that this might be the team for the Yankees. I'd like to see some better pitching from the Yankees starting rotation. You know, you gotta think that the Yankees will regress back to the mean here. They will go through some rough stretches this season. I think it would be insane to assume that the Yankees will continue this offensive output. Anyone who knows baseball, anyone who knows sports knows that this is not going to continue like this. But if the Yankees do suffer a rough stretch like they have been prone to do over the course of the last 7-8 years, they are going to need the pitching and not the bullpen, the rotation to be a little bit better. Carlos Rodon, great start. 1 earned run, 5 innings, multiple strikeouts, I believe 8. Marcus Stroman had a pretty okay outing. Max Fried doesn't get the win in a game in which his offense provides him with 20 runs. I think that's insane. But, you know, when you commit 5 errors and you still win by double digits, that's insane. And Max Fried doesn't pick up the win. Fried's got to be better. Again, I understand it's his first start at Yankee Stadium. I mean, you'd like to think that he'll be better going forward. The Yankees will certainly need it. You can't expect Carlos Rodon to be as consistent as he was with the Giants when he had a sub-3 ERA. Times have changed. And from what we've seen over the last 2 years, it is hard to rely on Carlos Rodon to be anything more than a middle-of-the-rotation guy who just got bumped up because Garrett Cole's injury. So I like to see more consistency from the rotation. But as I've said, offensively, this team is absolutely humming. And there's reason to believe that, again, I don't think that this type of output is going to continue, but there's reason to believe that specific guys on this team will be able to continue with these numbers, you know, I'd say like a semblance of what they are right now. Bat speeds are up for multiple guys in the lineup. Bellinger, Wells, Rice, Chisholm. You can't deny that. You can't deny the analytics. Also, guys, it's March. It's March. 15 home runs in March. And from what I saw yesterday, with the wind blowing in, the fact the Yankees were still able to hit 4 home runs, I believe it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. Judge had 1, Jazz had 2, Rice had 1. 4 home runs yesterday. With the wind blowing in, at least 10 miles per hour. At least. So it's not like the balls are jumping off the bat and flying through the air and landing in the stands because the air is warm. It's not cool. Like this isn't the middle of the summer. This isn't. It was freezing yesterday in the stadium. I was dying. Felt like I was going to get hypothermia sitting in the upper deck. So you can't say that is a factor in all this. Maybe the Yankees, you know, I think if there wasn't crazy wind, they'd have 2 or 3 more home runs yesterday from what I saw. I digress, though. It is difficult to believe this will continue. It is. But if it does, man, I mean, this could be the team. It could be the team. And I'm not going to be one of these Yankees fans who sits here and says, oh, Juan Soto, don't you regret being a Yankee? He got what he wanted. He got the money. He got what he needed for his family. And all the best to Juan Soto. Hopefully he's happy in Queens. The Mets, though, they might need to start looking into some torpedo bats with the lowest slugging percentage in their series against the Astros. Not like the Astros were much better. They were second worst in Major League Baseball. What a slugfest that was. Yankees number 1, far and away in slugging. Do I expect that to continue? No. The Mets have some great guys in that lineup. Plenty of power there. Plenty of pop. Whether it be Alonso, Vientos, Nimmo, like they will bounce back. So I'm not going to be the one to sit here, trash the Mets, trash Juan Soto, The guy hit a home run. He's a generational talent. But the early returns here are the Yankees might have improved their lineup without Juan Soto. And they have said repeatedly, even Judge has said it recently, it is extremely difficult and almost impossible to replace Juan Soto in this lineup. If Bellinger keeps hitting like this, if Jazz keeps hitting like this, if Rice is still as good of an option against righties as he's been in spring training and yesterday, yeah, I think it's easy to say the Yankees could have improved their lineup even while losing Juan Soto. I wanted to see the Yankees make all these moves if they got Soto back. Trade for Bellinger. Trade for Goldschmidt. These were all moves I wanted them to make. Of course, they didn't. I mean, I guess we'll never know because they didn't get Soto back. But what they did is they pivoted and they did enough in terms of developing their guys, whether it be using these new bats, using new technology to see how these swings are, could be maximized to have the most bat speed and all the analytics that go with it. They've done it. They've done their due diligence from what we have seen thus far. I'm not overreacting to this. I'm not telling you the Yankees are going to win the World Series. I'm not telling you they're even going to make the World Series or make the ALCS. I'd like to see more. I'd like to see this consistently over the course of the season. I'm also not going to overreact if the bats completely go cold, which they will at some point in the season. It's inevitability at this point. From what we've seen over the course of the last 7-8 years of Yankees baseball, we know that there will be a couple of weeks, a couple of months, half the season, which the Yankees can't plate runners, where the Yankees are batting under 250 with runners. Under 200 with runners in scoring position. We've seen it all. So I'm not going to get my hopes up. I'm not going to celebrate all the changes the Yankees have made. I'd like to see them continue over time. And I'm also not going to lose my mind when it all goes to shit inevitably. But early returns are amazing. They are. And, all these people out here who are saying, oh, the Yankees are cheating. Other teams are adopting it. That's all fun and games. Go for it. The Yankees are clearly the trendsetters in Major League Baseball. You got Twins catcher Ryan Jeffers using the torpedo bat yesterday. You've got a multitude of other guys across the league who are also using the bat. So Dave Portnoy, all the Red Sox fans, Nick Central, who has grown into just a hater for the teams that he doesn't like. He's grown into a hater for fans that disagree with every single one of his takes. Maybe he'll have a chance to respond to what he has said and all the terrible, disgusting, idiotic tweets that he's put out over the last couple of weeks. Absolutely infuriating, even about the Knicks. Hopefully he'll join us later on this week. I've tried to have him on in recent weeks. He's a busy guy. He's a father. But I'd like to have him on so he can respond to all these garbage takes that he's had. Respect. I love you if you're watching this at Nick Central. But that'll do it for today. I know it's short. Blame the Wi-Fi. Blame StreamYard. Terrible organization. Do not invest your money in that. Specifically, especially how much money that I've invested in it. So that'll do it for today. More content, as always, coming later this week. I want to talk more about the Knicks, the Giants, more news with them. Maybe put out another One Giant Step with Sean Morash. Stay tuned on that. But until then, till later this week, I'm Bryce Gelman, and thank you all for joining me today. Peace.